Title. Okay, the title of this one is Sex Positive and People Who Don't Masturbate! Exclamation point. Sex positive and people who don't masturbate. Have you ever bumped into the no-F.A.P movement? N-O-F-A-P? Question mark. Have you ever bumped into the no-F.A.P movement, people? Well, no-F.A.P stands for No Free Access Pornography. It means people who are resisting easy access to wonderful, fascinating images of naked bodies and excited people. I mean, one of the most interesting things in the whole world is the naked human body. And when the naked human body is very excited, that makes the naked human body even more interesting to look at. So, if you don't establish that with your children and your young people, that, oh my gosh, it is so fascinating to look at and to watch naked, excited people. If you don't make a statement about that, in some ways, you know what? You're a liar. You're lying. Because you are not sex positive. Oh my gosh. Being naked and not ashamed is certainly a fascinating, exciting thing that most anybody would be curious about. I got a question for you. Why is it that we go to the zoo? What do we do when we go to the zoo? We go to the zoo to look at creatures, beings that are different than us. Okay? A chimpanzee or a gorilla is a little bit like us, but not us. And it's interesting to watch them, because in some ways they look a little like our form. So we go to the zoo to basically look at naked animals that might have some fur on, but we're going to watch them and watch what they do. So, it's a joyful, positive, fascinating, interesting thing. Now, I'm a guy who used to feel like pictures of naked people are just kind of an interesting and fun part of life. Something that, just like going to the zoo, that you would want to go with a friend or share with a friend and check out. And I even was acquainted with some people who like to do what you might call middle class, ordinary people pornography videos and movies, like how to spank your honey's bottom and keep her excited. You know, just like nothing really dramatic or fancy, but just videos, pictures, movies for people who are curious and positive about being naked and having sex. So, let's go towards the no-F.A.P movement. In the no-F.A.P movement, now a lot of people try to condemn me as a religious nut and a Blah, 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 blah. They've got plenty of negative attitudes towards me, and they're cold. They're not kind. They're not friendly. And they have a lot of negativity towards me, and they basically treat me as if I do not do any work whatsoever. And the people that are cold and negative towards me often are the ones who believe in God and feel like they're right. I am right. I know the right way to be a friend of God. I am a good and best friend of God. Well, so I'm just trying to say I am used to being slandered, being unappreciated, and literally being condemned, but in an underground way. I'm having fun helping so many people who have been stressed out by many elements of life, because I believe that there are powerful spirit beings in the invisible realm, and those beings are so complex and complicated that humans cannot really understand what those beings are doing, and those beings are not limited by time and space and a physical body. So they can do stuff that human beings don't even have an inkling or a perception about. And that is actually what you could call the first point in the apostles' teaching, or the way of life teaching, or the teaching of the new covenant of Yeshua Messiah, Jesus Christ. First point, our problems are not stupid humans. And our problems are not primarily ourselves, who we're hating in the mirror and condemning. Our problems are actually immensely complex spirit beings who know how to literally override our logic. They're able to hear what our intentions are. And since they hate us and hate us having a relationship with peace, and hate us having peaceable relationships with other humans, those spirit beings who are evil and full of hate know how to nudge us right off of our favorite little track. We're heading on a track in a good direction, and we're going blah, 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 and talking about this is what I want to do, and this is what I want to be, and this is who I care about, and here are the situations that I want to live my life with, and etc., etc. And then the spirit beings who hate us can smile and say, bullshit, you're going to be on that track. Watch what happens right now. Bam! And those spirit beings are being effective in causing you to not make a right decision. And it's going to set your whole life on a dopey course that could have been totally different if you had had coaching. Now, here's my rant, here's my bitch. When I was a child and a young adult, I did not know that my father that I came from and my mother that I came from were both outrageously fun, sex-positive people. I mean, I'm talking about these people were with a lot of members of the opposite sex. A lot. one of the most intense events of my whole life was my mother was observing that I was in a bunch of different relationships. I was living in New York City. I was in the art and music punk scene, avant-garde art and music. And I was a hardworking and creative person who loved history. I loved studying things and learning things. But my mother could tell that I was in a bunch of different relationships, and it made her worried. Because her life was ruined so badly that she was trying to commit suicide when she was pregnant with me. That's my story. I was a crisis pregnancy. And my mom sat me down when I was 25 years old, and she said, crying, she said, I need to tell you about everything about you, your life and my life and everything. And she basically told me, my son, I was with over 120 different guys before I got pregnant with you at 22 years old, when I was at Duke University, Duke College of Nursing. And then she said, I don't know who your father is. I was with 3 different guys in a short period of time. And your dad, who has raised you for the past 25 years, when I told him that I was pregnant, he was the only one that I told. And he responded by saying, let's just start a family. So you were adopted in the womb. And you were at the wedding 5 months along. She said, I wasn't showing very much. Now, my mom and dad were a couple of the funnest parents in my list of many friends. Our doors weren't locked. And I even had one friend who would come over and use our living room as a hideaway place. And this friend was pretending that she was born in the wrong house and that we were really her family. I mean, it was pretty nice and pretty fun at our house. So, I got the awareness of my mother's life adventure when I was 25. I met my birth father when I was 40. And so, oh, and then there's another detail. When I was, I'm not sure how old I was, 5 or 6 years old. When I was 5 or 6 years old, sex positive, remember? When I was 5 or 6 years old, I was introduced to stimulation of my happy male member. I was introduced to the physical pleasure in a very kind, in a very friendly, in a very curiosity and positive kind of way. Now, deep down inside, I knew that what me and my friends were doing was not going to be announced to my parents, but at the same time, it was almost like they had tricked us because they told us all about all kinds of other positive things and et cetera, but they didn't tell us about this. Sex positive. Did not. And so, through some friends who were kind and caring, I was given a friendly introduction, just like I'm giving you right now. I was given a friendly introduction to a valuable set of information. And that is why sex positive, this sex positive video, that's why this sex positive video is a gesture of friendship and kindness. Because I work with 20 rehab centers that are all over the country. And in those rehab centers, I got to tell you, the primary thing is we together are learning how to be kind parents to one another, kind of reparenting each other so that we can be a little more successful, a little safer, and even like restore relationships with people that we've made a promise to. I mean, my gosh, do you people know that I miss the woman that I promised to marry? I miss her. I mean, she's got problems and so do I. But we have so much history together that sometimes I just kind of like to hug my pillow and think about all the neat things that we've done together. And, you know, and a measure of the times I'm thinking about the interactive pleasure that we had and the discoveries that we made and stuff like that. So, I don't want to let this run too long, but right now, I want you to understand that Grandpa Honesty Guy will be known as sex positive. And I do have a bunch of stories and books and presentations in my heart. One of them is just called The Flow and the Feel Good. And it uses a part of the Bible that was completely hidden from me, a couple of parts. Leviticus 12 shows us that women need to get twice the care and attention than men do. Women deserve twice the attention. And I actually argue that they deserve 3 times the attention. That's in Leviticus 12. In Leviticus 15 and 12, it says that the woman, when she is in her cycle, should be receiving 14 days of super extra special kindness and care from everybody in the friend group and or everybody in the family. The woman should receive 14 days of special expression of appreciation and care because her physical body is the most pleasant thing and the servant of the entire family. There is no human being that on the judgment day and when the angel of death comes, there will be no human being that did not come from the body of a woman. The body of a woman is our originating place. And the kindness and nurture of the woman is our grace place, our nurture and forgiveness place. Those 2 words in Hebrew are racham and rachem, womb and mercy, originating place and loving kindness or mercy and forgiveness place. And the woman, the female human being, is literally heaven itself manifest as a physical human form that you can touch and hold and look at, which is fascinating. I mean, the woman form, let's just say the woman form is literally a touchable heaven essence. And in the Bible it says, damn it, you better be really serious about how you handle the woman form and obtain her for your own purposes and use and enjoyment and comfort. You better be super careful and focused on providing immense benefits that show your appreciation. Now there's another place, and that's Song of Solomon, which is the whole story of two people being absolutely pleasurably nuts about one another, and they can't stop thinking about one another, and they just want to be together, and they're just flowing with desire for each other and all the stuff. So in Song of Solomon, there are three peculiar statements that are just the same statement. And if the Bible is really the book from God, if there's something that's declared 3 times in a row, maybe it's actually really important. And maybe if we're friends and parents, we should illuminate that particular statement so that we might be wise in the way that it instructs. So what it says is basically, in a very beautiful Hebrew expression, just as when we see the mountain goats and deer climbing up the side of the impossibly steep mountain, it causes us to stop and pay attention and just watch them. So also, I give you guys the instruction, please pay attention to me and be full of awe with what I'm about to say. Do not awaken love, desire, passion, arousal, hungriness for a person of your own. Do not awaken love, meaning fleshly, sexual, pleasure, sex positive. Do not awaken sex positive love and intimacy until it is time. Now, when is it time? And how is that evaluated? I ain't even going to go into that right now. But that statement is something that parents are supposed to repeat over and over and over again to the youngest children in a way that's kind and sex positive and creative. The reason why mommy jumps on daddy's lap all the time, the reason why daddy runs up to mommy and kisses her neck and tickles her and hugs her and stuff, is because it just feels so wonderful to have your own person to be playful and cheerful and enjoy and be fascinated with, and be Genesis 2:25, naked and not ashamed. It's fun to be naked and not ashamed with somebody. Just out like little children running around naked, just want to hold on to somebody's leg. So, do not awaken physical arousal and sex positive feelings until it's time. That's a pretty cool statement. But guess what? Nobody seemed concerned about me And in fact, I was in my mom while she was trying to commit suicide and jump off the Ben Franklin Bridge. Something prevented me and my mommy from dying, okay, baby? And I'm serious. That was freaking God. And just like Jeremiah, there's a statement. Jeremiah was filled with the presence of God, filled with the Holy Spirit from his mother's womb. It was not a special wake-up thing or surprise. He literally was in God's presence before he was born. And I'm telling you, because of my mother's insanely terrified state for weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks, I guarantee you that my little child heart, when I was a tiny, tiny little fetus, I was aware of wanting to love and care for my mommy. I was aware of wanting to love and care for my mommy. And that is how all this started. I'm telling you. That is how all this started. Praise Jesus. Stay tuned and learn stuff from Grandpa Honesty Guy, who is a sex-positive person. Thank you.